Yolanda. Super excited, humbled, and a little intimidated to be here speaking with you guys. But I'm really excited when Joe reached out. I was like, oh my God, yeah, I think I actually might have been on a cruise, to be honest. So just want to give you my story, a little bit about me, kind of how I've gotten to where I am. And I had this message. I love Instagram. Anybody love Instagram? Social media is like my jam. And I had just so many opportunities. What I'm going to talk about tonight is struggle and embracing the shit out of that.
Yes.
And really seeing struggles as gifts. Because there's been so many times in my own life where I want to give up and it's shit, this is really hard right now. But it's whoa, when you get through it, seeing all that stuff is a blessing. So that's kind of going to be some of what I talk about at my presentations called Embrace the Struggle. So I did kind of do this, not for you guys to see, but just for me to kind of go off through because I am nervous. Okay, so I just talk about what if the worst day were the best day of your life. I am 34, believe it or not. I'm a registered nurse by trade. Actually, nursing was a second degree, kind of went to school, always have been had this strong desire, I'm here to help people. If there's one fucking thing I know, it's I'm here, I'm supposed to touch people, heal people. And so when I was 16, I was an EMT. Did this training, was a volunteer EMT, my mom let me do this. The firehouse totally corrupted me. It's where I started drinking and just doing dumb stuff. But we're seeing all this stuff at the age of 16. I was wow, I really want to help people. And for the longest time I thought, I'm going to be a doctor. That was it, I'm going to be a doctor. So go to college, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And do that for 4.5 years, get a degree in biology, and I'm well, fuck this. That sucked. I'm done with school. Get a job out of school, and I'm cutting circuit boards. And I'm well, this really sucks. Evaluating them under a microscope. And so I used to literally sit at my desk and cry. And I don't know if anybody is in that in your career, but trust that if you feel like that, it is something telling you to get the fuck out. And so I went back to school, put my, literally worked full time, went back to school for nursing, and get my nursing degree. Awesome. In that time, just doing dumb shit too, because it was being so stressed out, drinking and driving after exams after school, working all day long and then going to class. Met a guy online. It's kind of funny, somebody was talking about online stuff. Met a guy online, he was in the Navy, and as I was finishing nursing school, he was I'm moving to Texas. I'm from Maryland, sorry, I kind of missed that part. I'm moving to Texas and I want you to come with me. And I'm okay, cool. Brand new career, never lived with a guy, brand new place to live. Yeah, let's do all this fucking change at one time. And I never gave myself permission to feel holy shit, bitch, you have done so much stuff at one time, and to appreciate that. And so we broke up, and I was a nurse at the time, and that's anybody in healthcare? No? Okay, I'm the only crazy weirdo. Anytime somebody tells me that they're going to nursing school, I literally cringe, because it's hard. It is so hard. So I, now was the single girl living in Texas. We were in San Antonio by myself, and just started working a whole bunch to pick up extra shifts, and was really feeling super unfulfilled. Again, here I was crying at one desk, and now I'm taking care of people for 12 hours, not peeing some days, not eating lunch some days, and I'm miserable. And I think that, the breakup and all those things, again, those struggles, right? This fucking sucks. I remember, hating him, but being we can't break up because I have this, facade that I'm trying to, paint for everybody else, and, literally, that was, it wasn't oh my gosh, I'm sad because I don't like you anymore. It was I'm sad because what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? So fast forward, stayed here, and just poured myself into my profession because I didn't know anybody, and was working 4 night shifts. And the universe kept giving me signs. I don't know what you guys believe in, but that's kind of like my jam, what I call it now. I've actually tattooed it, thank you universe, because it's just always sprinkling its fucking signs in your struggle. And so the night of February 3rd, hopefully I don't cry through this, of 2016, was taking care of a patient. My patient was in full-blown AIDS, dying from HIV. And I had taken care of this patient for days or nights before, fine, no big deal. And that night of February 3rd, my life flashed before my eyes when I was literally splashed with the bodily fluids from this patient, full-blown AIDS. And don't want to have kids. I am child-free as fuck. I yell, scream about that on the internet. Actually put it on a t-shirt. People love it. But like you just see like, shit, I haven't done so much that what if this takes this away from me? And just in that moment, it kind of was like, you're unhappy, you're drinking and driving, like you're doing just stupid shit and you need to get out. But again, it's kind of the universe, it's always around us, right? Like there's no doubt in my mind that we've all crossed, not even just to be here tonight together. Like I'm sure that people feel that, right? Like it's some story, some journey, whatever. So I had met this girl that she was online, and at the time when I initially broke up with the boyfriend, it kind of was like, I put myself on Tinder, and people were like, you know, that's like where people hook up, and I had been in this like 2.5-year relationship, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm just gonna go on there. But I decided I was going to dive into myself, and that started with fitness and eating better. I learned how to eat clean. I went on Pinterest and like looked up this 7-day like shred diet, and I've never had to lose weight, but it was something for me to put my energy into. And me being weird, loving to share stuff. I'm an introvert actually. I'm like an introvert and extrovert shell. It's really fucked up. But like just was really passionate about sharing the food and the fitness with other people and what it was doing for me. So these random ass girls would always send me messages on Instagram, and they were like, oh my god, you should join my team, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know you. Like, what is this? And then, you know, one day there was a girl, and she had messaged me, and she was a nurse too, and I saw that she was like making this extra money and what she was doing, and it was the health and fitness. And, you know, after that whole exposure to HIV and the hepatitis C, I was like, you know what? I don't have anything to lose. I'm going to try out this coaching thing. And that's kind of how coaching came to me. Just was as if I can replace the 4th nursing shift that I'm working and make extra money, and I'm already doing this online anyway, let me try it out. And I'm completely healthy, thankfully. But, you know, that was just a really scary time, and I just kind of started diving into, like, do the shit that scares you. And that night of February 3rd, and the shit of it is like, this sucks. I'm not married. I don't have kids. This job could take away my entire life. But now the blessing that that's been for me, because without that experience, would I be here to speak to you guys? So I just think that, you know, sometimes when we look at like life, it's like so hard. It feels so hard. It's just really stepping back and like, what is this blessing with me? What is this going to bless me with? And maybe I don't know it today. Maybe I don't know it tomorrow. Maybe I don't know it 3 years from now. But I'll tell you kind of what kind of happened to me and just saying yes to this opportunity I was super skeptical about. You guys, I sat down on a cruise ship last week with the CEO of a billion-dollar company that when I walked up to him a couple months before, he knew who I was. He knew who the Kind of Fit chick was, which is so crazy. That's kind of like my brand, whatever. And so I just think like you have to be so grateful for like all the hardship that we go through, and just like sharing that hard stuff with the right people and just like where that can take you. So that's kind of like my story and just how I've gotten here. Let's see what I got. So this was the night that I was exposed to HIV and Hep C. I had to start a bunch of medications to prevent it. The meds made me feel fucking crazy. Like, I've never been like a suicidal kind of person or anything like that, but literally was like having like these weird ass thoughts behind the meds. And then, again, I'm totally healthy, totally fine, but nursing, I still kept going with it, right? I love to help people, right? So we kind of convinced ourselves, like, this is just what you're supposed to do, right? And then there was one day that I was in the bathroom at work, and I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And I had this little opportunity of coaching, and it was paying my bills at the time. And I remember texting my fiance, texting my mom, and saying, I can't fucking do this anymore. And I only meant to take a month off, and I've not touched a patient in 2 years. So talk about like that struggle being my blessing, right? Let's see here. So every struggle is a gift, and I kind of told you guys about who I am, what I do. And I think just some of the other things that, like, in the grand scheme, like, you know, if you are here and, like, you're in the online space and you're, like, thinking about, like, who is my brand? Like, right? Like, you are your brand. The Kind of Fit chick I made that was crazy because the reason why I made it was because in my coaching space, nobody looked like me. Nobody sounded like me. Nobody spoke like me. Nobody was dropping F-bombs, and I just wanted to be myself. And so it kind of came out of this, like, persona of the Kind of Fit chick, which now I describe it. People are like, but you're really fit, like you have a six-pack. But what she really is, just she's a woman that's embracing living her life real raw and free as fuck. And that kind of is the Kind of Fit chick. So when I think about, like, growing up single parent, like, that's made me such a strong woman today, right? Like, where do you struggle with your own family drama bullshit? Like, how is that making you, like, a better person, right? Even though, like, I feel like on the outside, we look at all that stuff like, oh, this sucks, you know? Been picked on my size for forever and ever, and it's really funny because now I'm, like, super strong. I lift weights, and there are girls, the same girls that used to tease me in high school, the ones asking for fitness tips now, and I'm like, yeah, you did that, you know, but I'm here because I'm here to help you, so that's cool too, right? This pressure to have kids, I've kind of found, I don't know if any of you guys are like me, I know I got some woos, this pressure to have children, and being a 34-year-old woman and not wanting that at all, and feeling like weird, right? And I always say that I think that Mother Nature never put that clock in me because I'm not meant to nurture one thing. I'm meant to grow this business. I'm meant to help other women step into their power, their entrepreneurship, and that is really, I don't really think that I could have done that with a kid. I couldn't have been like, oh, I'm gonna quit my job if I had another mouth to feed besides my brat dog. You know, moving to a new state, the nursing, and then being my own boss and finding my own voice has been very powerful and all that. So I work with women that are all ages. I've helped my mom. She was like the first person I was like, okay, you're gonna sign up and do this with me. This is probably a pyramid scheme, but we're gonna do this. My mom's lost 35 pounds and it's absolutely changed her life. I wish I had a picture of her in here, but this is one of my clients, Kylie, and just, I know that you're going into like the coaching thing. Just never underestimate why somebody is watching you, and that when you are sharing your struggle, that you are inspiring the fuck out of somebody, and you don't know. They might not be liking a picture, they might not be on your stories, but they're watching. And so a lot of my clients, yes, it's health and fitness, but I love, like, it's like way when we start getting deeper in that surface that you find out things about people. But like when she watched me for a year, she finally started with us. I didn't know this, but she had like lost her best friend very unexpectedly, and it was just been like this healing journey for her. So like, again, it's like in her struggle that, you know, it has been a blessing, and she's like, I love it. Like, it just gives women such confidence to feel good in their bodies, you know, with health and like giving yourself the right foods. Like she's like posing online, like in her bikinis, and she's like, this is the first time in 3 years that I feel confident to do this. And I'm like, that's how I'm supposed to touch people. So just never underestimate your power and how you're supposed to help. You know, I feel like we can struggle in relationships, struggle with eating well, sticking with routines, people pleasing in our careers. And what I really have found, I think a lot of what I see is just our mindsets. Like, you can't do anything with a fucked up mindset, and it really is like figuring out what for you gets you in that space. And I think that all looks very differently for some of us. For some people, that's yoga. For me, that's like, Shanti, please kick my ass and make me like not be able to get up off the mat. You know, like it's also different. So I think stepping into that power. And then I hear a lot of people say, like, and you guys let me know if you feel like this, that they feel like they need a coach for motivation. And I'm like, I'm not gonna motivate you. I can't come to your house and kick your ass out of bed. Like, that's gonna come from within you. And I think just reminding women that that power is deep down within you, and you just have to kind of pull that out. And then some of my best tips to kind of get yourself out of the struggle, is anybody love Tony Robbins? Like obsessed, right? Have you been to a Ultimate?
No.
Oh my God, please go. It will change your life. Like he came out and I like cried like he was God. Like it was the weirdest thing. But he talks a lot about like changing your language and the power that we do have over like our mindsets and our emotion and how you can change your state like really quickly. And so control what you can control, right? Take your power with what you can control, because again, in that struggle, when I was like the nurse that had been exposed to HIV and Hep C, the one thing that I found, the one thing that I knew made me feel good was to work on my health and fitness. And it became, I learned how to lift weights. I started feeling stronger, and that just like translated mental, physical, like so many different aspects. Start saying no to people and things, setting boundaries. I think a lot of us are in like these online spaces and stuff, and that is like, that shit will set you free when you can start saying no, and you like just don't take like every single client just because they're gonna, you know, give you a little bit of money, like, and that shit's so empowering to me. Mindset, you know, again, I think that does look different. Gratitude, meditation, all kinds of things for different people. And then changing your circle. I think it is so important that sometimes you have to realize like you have people that are holding your shit back. And I know that we're responsible for that, but I do think like you'll attract whatever your like the vibration that you put out. And so like for me, it got really uncomfortable when I started doing what I do, because my friends are like, you have a degree, like you're supposed to be doing this, like what are you doing, like why are you doing that, like you want to be an Instagram star, like that's weird. And I just had to get rid of that, because it's like baggage, right? You can only be around people that are lifting you up 100%. So like that's so powerful to me. And I think finding passion projects too, like to help you just with where you struggle. So for me, it was like, holy shit, I gotta talk to all these people, like what am I gonna do? And it's, my computer brings me so much joy. I'm like a weirdo, right? So it was kind of why it did turn into a presentation. And then stop apologizing for what lights you up and who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that was where the Kind of Fit chick was born. It was like, okay, like this is just me, but I needed to put me behind somebody else. And you know, people come to my page and never know that I'm a Beachbody coach, because that's not what I sell. I know people sign up and they are buying Yolanda and the energy and this whole idea of what the Kind of Fit chick is. And then setting the expectation for yourself. Nobody gets to set that for you but you. So, you know, if your parents are like, oh my gosh, well, you know, my mom was so obsessed with me being a nurse or a doctor, and for so long was that like, that's what I gotta do, I'm gonna be the first person to graduate from college. And no, like, you know what I mean? Like the only opinion of you, does anybody like love Rachel Hollis? Right? Like, okay, so you guys need to read Girl Wash Your Face and Girl Stop Apologizing. She'll speak to you like so hard. But like the only opinion of you that matters is that you have of yourself. And when you like get so unapologetic of this is who I am, you step in that power, it just will literally set you free. And then share, because there's so much power in knowing that you are not alone. You know, like all your little struggles, the stupid little shit. Brene Brown's a really good one. Does anybody know her? Yeah, right? Like she's really good. She talks a lot about vulnerability and just like stepping into that. So when I did start saying, I'm really child free and I don't want to have kids, and this is kind of like this weird thought that I have, you'll start finding people that you're not alone. And she talks a lot about like kind of like zooming the lens out from yourself and zooming it so that you kind of like see other people as a whole. And that's what I got. It's just kind of embracing your struggle and sharing the fuck out of your gifts, y'all. Like,